Okay, welcome to today, August the 8th. I want to give you all a preview of some of the new features of IFBMT, Independent Fundamental Baptist Missionary Trails. I will be taking this video and also posting it onto YouTube. For those of y'all who maybe not have Facebook, y'all can get a preview of it there and share it with your friends. I understand some missionaries in certain countries can't be very public about their location and what exactly they're doing for the Lord. So I want to allow y'all to be able to see this on YouTube if you don't have a Facebook account as well. So I will be posting this on YouTube at a later date. I want to go over some of the new features, but again, give a general overview of what it is exactly that we do, how our service works, and what we can do for you to help you out as a missionary, church planner, evangelist, or maybe just someone wanting to help out missionaries. Maybe someone that travels a lot and looks for churches while they travel. So what exactly do we do and how can we help you? So first of all, Independent Fundamental Baptist Missionary Trails is developed by myself, Anthony Master, which is a member out of a Cornerstone Baptist Church here in McAlester, Oklahoma. It's a tool we developed to help missionaries specifically, but also we've seen some other uses along the way. So if you would like to sign up for the service, you can register for a 60-day free trial account, no credit card, no payment information required. And if you need to extend your trial or anything like that, please contact me personally. We can make arrangements as needed. I really love helping missionaries. So if I can help you in any way that would help advance the gospel, help you and where you're at, I would really love to be able to do so in whatever needs you have. Please be advised, though, that I am also a full-time service manager at a dealership. So I do have a full busy schedule all the time, and I'm actually doing this on my lunch break right now. So if you send me a message, sometimes I don't respond right away, maybe a few hours, or maybe I actually forget the email and postpone it a little bit. Send me another email, remind me. I will greatly appreciate that. I do my best to respond in a timely manner and help with all different concerns as they arise. But let's take a look here for the next few minutes about after you log into Independent Fundamental Baptist Missionary Trails, what exactly is it that you see? Well, you'll see after you log in this screen right here minus the administration tab. That just allows me to go and administer accounts. So what we have here is, let me hide that notice. If you go down to the bottom, the first thing I encourage everyone to do is update your profile. So in here, of course, you can't change your username, but make sure I have your correct email address, your name, the field you're going to, and you can update your password. If you update your password, put in your current password, the new password, and then one more time. And then select your sending church. You can add that down here. Here is your recently viewed churches. So as you view churches, maybe if you go find your church first and then come back to your profile, your church will be on this list. Or you could search by putting in a search criteria. The more specific and unique, the easier it will be to find your church. If you type in like a Cornerstone Baptist Church, it's going to come up with every church that is Cornerstone, every church is Baptist, every church has the word church in it. So it'd be a quite long list there. So the more specific, like our church, if you put in Thoreau, it'd be quicker, just the one church will come up. So just something unique, maybe a pastor's name, maybe a city or maybe a unique name of your church, help find up. But that's how you update your profile. If you need to change your password, remember passwords have to be 8 characters long and contain 3 of the 4 characteristics. That's uppercase, lowercase, a number, and a special character. So any 3 of the 4 of those, 8 characters long or longer. And then your username and password are both case sensitive. So if you ever have a hard time logging in, remember, make sure to check it. Make sure you use an uppercase where uppercase is used, lowercase where it has lowercase used. I know some browsers, maybe on mobile devices or tablets, sometimes like to capitalize the first word or first letters you start typing something. Thinks you're typing a sentence or something like that. So make sure it's not auto-capitalizing your password or your username, and that should help you out if you're having trouble logging in. Let's go back. After you have all this saved, you just hit submit there on the bottom to update all your information. I'm gonna go back to the main screen here. So the best thing we have on here, if we go to churches, you'll see automatically that in our database right now we have 10,561 churches. How are churches added to this list? Well, we started off with a great repository to start with of churches. And then users like yourself have added churches along the way as they find them, a church they've been to, maybe their home church wasn't in here, and you can add your own church. Well, how do you add a church to this list? It's right here at the top of the churches screen. Just hit add church. Comes up to a new page. You want to enter the name of the church, the city, the state, anything with a red asterisk is required. And then the rest of this is very helpful to help other missionaries down the road to find and contact this church. So you would add in the more information, the better, expand these boxes and just keep on adding their own information about the church. You can add tags and this and that and everything. Websites, Facebook, URL links, the phone number for sure to help missionaries contact them, a good address to help us know exactly where they're at to update them on the map. So this is how you would add a church. What kind of churches can you add? Well, if a church is prone to support independent fundamental Baptist missionary or the likes thereof, add them to the database. Maybe it's a church that you have a friend or family member that lives in, and maybe they're not prone to really supporting a missionary, but they're just a good church that you know of. Add them to the list. Might be someone good for someone passing through to stop at. Recommend to a friend, hey, I know a church in your area that you're moving to. There's a lot of stuff that we're able to help with down the road. There's a lot of good stuff in here. If you know of a good church, go ahead and add it in. I haven't really seen too much of anything added in that hasn't been important or good information. The tags in here really help out. If you know a church maybe not be doctrinally sound, you can add the tags to make note of whatever they do believe or whatever worship styles or whatever Bible versions they use. There are some churches in here that are not KJV, but they do support missionaries who are KJV, and even vice versa. So just you can enter your church information. The more tags that are on the church, the better they are to help you find them. Well, what do you mean by the tags? Well, let's look at our church list again. As you're scrolling through the church list, you'll see a whole bunch of tags on each church. A lot of these churches has their ministries, maybe what Bible version they use, that they have a death ministry, that they have nursing home, prison ministry, even stuff like, do they have afternoon service? Are they Calvinist? What kind of beliefs are landmark? And it just has, are they King's kids? What kind of things do they have for the kids? Do they run a bus? Do they have RU ministry? A lot of great stuff is in the tags. So the more tags, the better it is to find a church that will more likely support yourself. What do you mean by that? Well, if you look on the left, you have your menu. In the middle page, you have your main screen. And then if you open the right side panel, by the button in the top right corner, opens the right panel, you can do sorting and refinement. So now we can go in here and refine churches a little bit better. So let's go into college affiliations. So let's say if, for say, I was out of, let's just say if I was out of, I'll just pick one, Hyles-Anderson College. That's a lot of them. So if I was out of Hyles-Anderson College, we can look at all churches that are affiliated with one way or another with Hyles-Anderson College. Maybe they have staff that hired from there. Maybe they're preachers from there, or maybe they support and send their students there. Well, anyways, they have a connection with Hyles-Anderson College that you might also have. So if we refine by that, it will add a refinement to the churches. So now we have 263 churches that are related to Hyles-Anderson College one way, form, or another. Now that just gives us a starting point. Now we can open up the church and we can see more specifically where they are on the map, more of the tags, their location, and then we can also come down to the notes. And some of these notes have very helpful information about the church. Missionaries come in here and they can add public notes that'll give you insight. Maybe you need to go fill out a survey. Maybe you need to contact a certain person in a certain way. You have the best contact method up here. Make sure you keep an eye on that. If that gets updated, all those great information help you know which church you're contacting and give you a little bit of insight of who you're calling before you even call them. Well, that's all great, but you're calling churches and you don't really know what location they're at. So there's a couple different ways to do that. You can open this right side panel again, and then go into church locations. You can limit it down to United States only, and then you can even go down by state. Now you can do that, or you can go back to the main menu and go to the map. And that same refinement you had set up transfers to the map. So your same 260 churches, some of them are not defined with location. We had 263 before. So as you zoom in, you can then see where these churches are actually at. So say you want to really focus on this Kansas City, Topeka, Springfield, Columbia, Jefferson City area, Des Moines, Omaha. You really want to focus on this area with your calling and contacting. Well, open the right side refinement panel once again, and then refine the current bounds. And that takes map bounds and refines the church list to that bounds. Oh, that limited down to 19 churches. So now you really want to work those 19 churches all within the same time area. Maybe you can find someone in that area to do from one church to another to help streamline your traveling from place to place. Let's go back now to the church list, and that map bound refinement transferred over to the church list. So now if you scroll through here, these churches are all in that area. And here's a new feature we just added. So let's open up one of these churches. Let's open up Amazing Grace Baptist Church in Kansas City, Kansas, just for illustration. We'll open up this church. There it is on the map. So we can look at to see exactly more where it is. We have all of their information. But if we take the map and we zoom out a little bit up here, we can find churches that are close to this church. So here's one. We click on it. That's First City Baptist Church of Leavenworth, Kansas, Pastor Keith Baker. And then you can also see, do they have Prophet's Chamber or do they have RV hookups? And that's some of the tags here as well. So you can see that information. And what does the numbers on the little markers mean? How many miles away from the church they are as a bird flies. So this church should be 24 miles away from the current church we're at. Or there's one here in Kansas, or Topeka, Kansas, that is 60 miles away as the bird flies. And so that'll help you go from location to location. And our radius here on the map, as you see, we zoomed out. We only have just those two. So what did it do? It limited the radius to 100-mile radius. So we're not showing every church on this map. You can see that on the other map. But this will just show those that are within that 100-mile radius. So we can jump here from church to church. So let's go over to this one. And we zoom out on the map. Of course, we could contact this church. We zoom out. And you have those other two. But now we have another one that's within 100 miles of this church. So now you can go down to that church and move on and so forth. And as you're going, you will notice that eventually you'll get outside of your bounding box from your main map. And what happened there was the main map bounds does not apply to that church map on the church itself. So that sort of overrides that map bounds with the 100-mile radius of that church. So just keep that in mind. There's a couple other things in here you can do with these settings. With the sorting and refinement, you can do negative tags. So say you're very strict on your Bible version, and rightfully so, if that's the standard you take, the stand I take. And you can come in here and you can say, well, I don't want to ever walk in a church that maybe does not use the KJV. So let's take off the Hyles-Anderson College tag real quick. You could add these together, but let's for illustration, we'll just take that one off, and let's go back into the map. Into the church list again and refresh that side panel. And it's going to load new panels. So now we go into Bible positions. And we can say, I never want to go into a church that's not KJV. Set the little red minus tag, and it would do a negate of that tag. So tag exception. So now it has churches that follow all of these rules except for that they are also not KJV. And you can add these on top of one another as well. So you got that set. And now let's say you want to go into college affiliations, and that maybe there's a college that you just have bad mojo with. And so you can go in here and just, for instance, you can negate that one from the list. And so you can use these with any of the tags, just add and negate from the list. And you can and then take them off individually as well. If you want to reset all of your settings here at once, open this panel again. Reset clear refinements. What does clear refinements do? It clears it all out. But then you also have reset. So you can store your refinements into a saved refinement search for multiple devices. Say you're going from one device to another. You can save it and easily transfer those same refinements, so you not have to set up your refinements on every device you're using. Maybe if you and your wife are both trying to contact churches and find church in the area, you can have a store refinements, and then she can use this reset refinements, and it will pull over the stored refinements onto any device you have access to, you're logged in. And so these ones I had set up before, and so I have all these tag exceptions, and they're in the United States. And so that's just one example of something you can do for using the store and reset refinements. Let's look at one more thing. Let's order these churches by the newest churches first. So go down by creation, the newest first. So I would advise everybody to be looking at this way quite often, because there might be some new churches in an area you've already been to before, but might be passing through again. You can look at the newer churches that have been recently added. Say, hey, I didn't know there's a new church in that area. And maybe you'll be able to find another supporting church that way. Now, these are not necessarily churches that were just started, but maybe they're churches that maybe didn't have an online presence before. that were not very known publicly on the web, or maybe even didn't make a public database that we initially pulled from. So if we look down this list, I'm going to open, for instance, let's see, there's one down here, Metropolitan Baptist Church in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They did a very good job. They have a pastor notated here. They got a whole bunch of tags listed here, so they did a good job getting this in here. But we have a P.O. box. Well, that's kind of hard sometimes, because how can you find a church from a P.O. box? Where do I go? How do I get to it? So if you open the church and you pull up a big map of the United States, well, that didn't help me at all. So where's the church at? Because the location has not been set yet. So if I know where this church is, which I looked it up, I cheated. I did a click on the Google search, and it opens up a Google search for this church with the name, and then I flipped over to maps, and then I actually found it on the map. Here it is, Metropolitan Community Church of Albuquerque. I'm believing that's the same church, possibly not, but I'm just going to show you how we can do that. I'm not going to save it in case that's not it. But how can you set that? You're going to zoom in into the location on the map, and just for illustration, I'm not going to save this, but let's see, it's between Wyoming and, let's see, it was around this area here. You can find the map and switch back and forth between the two. But anyways, if you zoom in and then you find it, for instance, I don't think that's it, but you just click on, and then it has a set location. Now, if you click on that, that'll set this church to that location. I'm not exactly sure that's where it's at, so I'm not going to do that at this time. But that would set the location of the church. So if somebody else finds this church later on, it would pull up the map with the location of the church listed already. So that's pretty helpful information. Now, how can you edit these tags? Say there's a church, and you know this church also has a prophet's chamber, or maybe something yours not listed correctly, and you know for sure. How can you do this? In the tag area, you can click and drag. If you're on a non-touchscreen device, or if you're on a touchscreen device like me, you'll want to swipe one way or the other on this, and then hit the orange edit button for the tags. And then you can open up the current tags, take off any of the current tags, or scroll down and add tags that are not listed. So you could add prophet's chamber, you can add RV hookups. Of course, I'm not going to add that here, but just for illustration purposes, how to do that. If the address is not right, or you can slide on that as well, and you can edit the address, you can flag the address, you can set a task for the address. So say you send a packet of information. Well, we send a packet, it's completed, or if it's not completed, when is it due? When do you want to get this completed by? Well, by the end of the month, I need to do this. You can add some notes in here. Where do you want it to save as? And it'll add a task for you to follow up with again later. Maybe you call the phone number and it's not a good phone number. So instead of coming down here and adding a note, what you would do is actually flag the phone number itself. Hit the red flag button, reason what happened, and flag it. And that's all there is to it. If you know the new phone number, you can add a new, or you can edit the existing. Same with email address. And then here's something I want to show you. See, by this pastor's name, it has the blue star. That means this pastor is notated as a senior pastor. So if you slide that over and there's a different contact, it would have the blue star in here to notate as a senior pastor. And that just helps notate on the church list who is a pastor. Because there might be multiple contacts. We don't show who is a pastor unless there's a senior pastor notated with the individual church. Let's look at how to add a note. So one of the best things in here is the church notes. So if you come and hit open the right side menu again, you can add a note. You can make it default by private, or you can make it public, enter the note and add it. Again, you can add a task. Say you need to call this church back, and when do you want to call them back at? Or you can type in here anything you want to, add yourself a task. You can do one or the other here, or you can do both. You can add an event. Now, if you know this church has a missions conference, has a revival, has a special day, something big coming up, you can add it public to let everybody know, or you can make it a private event. Maybe it's a public event, but maybe you're not going to. You can even still add it in here to let someone else know about it if you're not able to go to it yourself. And so that'll add it in as an event, and it'll show up on the calendar. Then your statuses help you manage and track your churches yourself. There's a couple of statuses. All these were ones that I've created. You can create your own statuses. So maybe you visited, maybe they're supporting, maybe they're prayer support, maybe they are reviewing you for support, they're praying about support. Whatever tags you want to use, you can make them unique to you. So that is the statuses are very helpful to help find churches very quickly and get a list of all your supporting churches, or a list of all the churches you've been to but are maybe you're not supporting yet. So that's something very helpful for you to use at a later date. And then let's look at the recent notes. So if we open the recent notes on the left side menu, now the left side menu is different from the main page and different from the right side menu. So the right side menu correlates to what is on the main page, but the left side is completely different. This helps you look or travel from place to place. So if you want to look at personal notes, now these are notes that I have created. They might be public, they might be private, but these are notes that I have created. And the community notes are notes that other people have created. So let's see. So here's something that sort of catches my eye. Church voicemail asked for something. So we can scroll down. What does this note say? I clicked on the church, opened it right up. Church voicemail asked for missionary, send an info packet to faithmissiondesk@gmail. So you can go in there, and that's a very helpful information. It saves you from making a phone call. Now you know the first step to do is send an email. So right there, you know exactly what you need to do to start off the process to get support. So these notes in here are very, very helpful, very great information in these public notes. If you know something, help another missionary out, let's pass along the information. Let's help others get to the field faster as well. So many times we know what the honey pot is, but so many times we don't like sharing the honey pot. Let's share the honey pot. Let's help people spread the gospel, get to the fields faster. And then, of course, you got your scheduled tasks, stuff you have to do coming up. Then you have completed tasks, stuff you have already completed. And let's say you go into schedule task and I already have done this. How do I get off from this? Well, again, swipe it over, hit the little check mark, and it will show it as completed task. I'm just going to cancel that for now for illustration purposes. And then there's recent flags. Maybe you want to use it to help people find updated information for addresses that have been flagged. Here's the wrong number. So, oh, that's the wrong phone number. Let's see, what number do they have listed? Let's try to help them find the information. Maybe you want to do some research, help someone find updated information for a church. That's one way to see what information has been notated as wrong and help update the database for somebody else. So that's great information there. Also, the quick calendar, very helpful. You can see what events you have coming up by month. And I haven't been playing here. Here's July. I had a couple here. And then you can also look at the map and see the location. The day of the month it is on in July. And then click on it, you get the location. Click on it again, it actually goes to the church with that event it's at. And then let's go back, reload the main view. So sometimes you go from church to church to church, and you want to get back to the main view, and you hit back and back and back several times. Reload main view will get you back to that main view once again. Select calendar, and then you can actually see your calendar. Hit the right side panel. You can actually display which calendar you want to show. So let's look at all public events. Hit submit. Now these are all the public events, whether I'm going to them or not. These are just public events. So maybe I can look at these, see where they're at, see if it's something I'm able to attend. And maybe it's some of these are monthly pastors fellowships where we can meet a whole bunch of new pastors. Some of these are, let's see, most of these right now in this month are fellowships. Let's see, here was a camp meeting right there. And then over here was another camp meeting. So there's some great information that's listed in here. Maybe you can be able to find some more meetings that way, even if it's just dropping in on a pastor's meeting to meet some more pastors in that area at that time. So a lot of great information here in Independent Fundamental Baptist Missionary Trails to be able to help you get to your field faster. Again, we help missionaries, evangelists, church planners, and even if a pastor wants to say, hey, I want to try it out, I want to help be able to recommend churches to members that are moving from me, where they're moving to. I want to help missionaries to have updated information. I want to even check my own church, see what kind of information they have on my church. You're welcome to get a trial account or pay for an account if you want to, and use this for even your own service as well. My mother and father, they took a trip out west here recently and used our service to help find churches along the way and update their tags and information. To even though they're traveling on vacation, they want to be in church, so they wanted to find a good church. What do they use? They use this app to help them as they travel to find a good church in their location. So we got a couple new features we'll be working on. We are still working on integrating our event calendar with other calendar sources such as your Apple Calendar or your Google Calendar. We're still working on that aspect. We're working on creating a dashboard that will help you manage your progress, how many open tasks you have, how many completed tasks, how many churches you've contacted this week, what your support level is for what you have promised, what you have received, how much support you have received. If there's a church that maybe as missed their support. All that information is listed in here as well. And that's what we'll be working on here soon to be able to create that dashboard to help you visualize and see that information even better. Hope this was a helpful preview. And if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. And thank you all. Keep on keeping on.